Yo, yo, yo. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore, founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream brand partnerships. Back at you for another live stream. I'm live across YouTube, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, you name it. Did I say, I think I said Instagram. Excited to talk today about, we got a juicy title today, sponsorships as distribution. Ooh, thought-provoking. What does that mean? Well, don't worry. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to tell you. Let me know where you're tuning in from, whether it's like what country, how's the weather where you're at. Let me know. We've got Sarah Dawn tuning in on the YouTube chat. We've got Deep View Media. I see Anthony, Nakota Fishing. I see Jim Hookie. I see Phil Palin. We got my good buddy Jonah from Oh Sure Chef. Jonah was actually the producer of my audiobook. So good to have you here, Jonah. Very excited that you've graced us with your presence today. For some reason, I don't know why it has my name in the lower left. I don't know what that is about. I feel like I was supposed to turn that off, but I don't know how. So you're gonna get me with my title on the lower left of the whole video, but that's okay. Laura, we got Laura Brown tuning in from LinkedIn saying Phoenix, Arizona. It is hot. Yeah, it's extremely hot where I'm based in Minneapolis as well. And I wanted to just give a big hearty shout out to Laura because she is the newest member of our Wizards Guild sponsorship coaching program. Let's go. Let's give it up for Laura in the chat. Laura actually participated in my 10K brand deal challenge that happened over the last week or so. And it was such a blast. And so Laura, I'm so thrilled to be able to support you for the rest of the year in that program. So we also had Jonah says needed more of your voice. Yeah. So Jonah can claim, my producer, my audiobook, Jonah, he's the only person who has ever heard me read the book in its entirety in person live. And so he just said, I needed more of your voice. Well, I'm honored by that. Thanks, bro. All right. So as you know, for those of you that tune in to my live streams every week, I do these for you. And so any questions that you have around brand deals and negotiations and partnerships and all that, please make sure to drop it in the chat and I'll get to those questions a bit later on. But I wanted to start off with this topic all around sponsorships as distribution. One of the things that probably one of the largest objections that I get from creators, creatives, influencers, businesses, primarily businesses, or people who are selling things directly to their audience, to their customers, et cetera. The biggest objection that I get from them is like, I don't want to do sponsorships because I have my own things to sell. I'm a coach. I'm a course creator. I sell digital products. I'm a speaker. I do speaking gigs, whatever. I sell things directly to my audience, right? And so the idea, it's very unpalatable to the prospect of talking about someone else's thing, a brand's thing, because wouldn't it make more sense if I could talk about my own course or my own coaching program or whatever? Because I make 100% of that. Why would I talk about someone else's thing where I'm just they're basically renting my credibility or renting my audience to access them? That doesn't seem like the best use of my time or my strategy, right? I should just be like plugging my own thing all the time. Also, they have a very narrow view of what a sponsorship is. A lot of people think that the only way in which you could ever partner with the brand is if I talk about them on my platform. They say they deliver a brief and it's these robotic talking points, and then I deliver that, I do the integration, and then I move on with my life. And that's really the only reason that a brand would want to collaborate with me. And I want to start here on this topic of sponsorships as distribution because I look at sponsorships quite differently. I look at it from a way of like, how can everyone win? How can the brand win? How can I win? And how can my audience win? So I talk in my book, Sponsor Magnet. I have this section in there about how do you engineer sponsorships to be win-win-win, where all three of those parties are winning. And if there is no if there is a win missing from one of those three people, either you have to walk away from the deal or restructure the deal in such a way where it's like a very apparent win for everyone. And so the example that I want to share here, and then the reason that I'm sharing this is because not only do I want to get through to people who think that sponsorships might not be for them, but help you think about sponsorships in a different way than the standard, like, integration on my own platform, right? So a lot of you know that I have this book called Sponsor Magnet. Drop it in the chat if you have read the book. Come on, give me a book emoji. Give me the guy with the glasses and the teeth that looks like nerdy or something. Give me the praise hands emojis if you have read Sponsor Magnet. But again, I have an extremely ambitious plan to get this book into the hands of 100,000 people in the next 5 years. I am approaching 5,000. Is where I'm at right now. I self-published this book, so I don't have a traditional publisher behind me to like get this in like airport book stores or something, which is not really my demographic anyway. But I don't have any, like, I'm the marketing department here, right? And so I have done everything that I can think of to try to help this book achieve escape velocity, right? I did all the pre-launch. I did a bunch of pre-launch hype. I went on 60 or 70 podcasts throughout the launch period. I asked every single person that I know, basically 100 people. I personally reached out to 100 people that, also have audiences and asked them if they would share the book. Every interview opportunity I said yes to for a long time, right? And that has gotten me to where I am to date. And so I tried to give myself the best chance possible to ensure that this book achieves escape velocity, right? And so what I mean by that is that I got this advice early on from some authors that I really respect, which is that there's two things that matter when it comes to to launching a book that has legs. The first one is you have to write a good book. And so I really focus on this book has to be super, super valuable and warrant people recommending it. Right. So that's the first, I got to start there. Right. And then the second thing is someone gave me the advice is try to get this book into the hands of 1,000 people. Because then if it's a good book, word of mouth is going to slowly start to spread. And that's really where I'm at right now is I feel like I'm almost at 5,000. So I've sold just over 4,100 books and I've given away another almost close to 1,000 to various conferences and communities and memberships and just get this dang book out there as much as I can. And I feel as though I'm kind of maxing out the people that are in with kind of I have direct connections to these people. And so the next phase of where my focus is about how I'm going to make this happen, 100,000 copies, right? Because going from 5 to 100K copies is a big deal. Is how can I leverage brands' customer bases to convince them, hey, you know what would make sense? It would make sense if you emailed your 100,000 customers about my book. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? And here's the reason why that would be so amazing. And I just reverse engineer in the very same way that I advise y'all to think about the proactive work that you can do to speculate, to infer what it seems like these brands care about prior to making this pitch. So my idea for this book and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 5 to 10 limited edition versions of this book. And there's going to be a custom cover, okay, where it says this is the brand XYZ edition of Sponsor Magnet. It's going to be a different color, kind of some cool elements. There's going to be a foreword written by that brand. And again, these are all brands that are relevant to the creator economy. So you can imagine, for example, Kit, which is my email service provider. I'm still trying to convince them to do it, but if it's the Kit edition of Sponsor Magnet, there's a foreword written by Nathan Barry talking about, why how powerful having an email list and newsletter can be when it comes to upselling and cross-selling your sponsorships. They pay a flat fee for the sponsorship. Every time that they have their own event, they can print, 500 custom copies of the book, hand them out to, in their swag bags for all their attendees. Or if they sponsor other events, they can hand out these books as in the booth. Or maybe they could send out this book to high value leads or customers. Maybe it's a customer retention thing. So they outline, the top 10,000 or top 5,000 customers using Kit, and they send it out in this little care package during the holidays or something, whatever. Right. Now it starts to make sense. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is going to help us achieve our, I don't know, retention goals. Let's pull that last example that I mentioned here around retention. So when I mean retention, like any brand or any company has pretty much two main objectives that they care about at any given time, which is number one is let's get new customers, right? And number two is let's retain existing customers. That's right. And frankly, sometimes the retention of existing customers is something that a lot of brands forget about because they are just upset. They just assume like, oh, I guess once we convince this customer to stick around, they'll stick around forever, right? But no, it's not the case. So this is really a really important aspect to think about here, which is like when it comes to customer retention, like what if you were able to propose some sort of sponsorship of your thing, not necessarily a book, but a sponsorship of your workshop, of your course, of your web series, of this webinar that you've created or whatever, a sponsorship of you and that as a way to retain their customers. That sounds like a very interesting pitch. So your pitch isn't like, hey, let me get you a bunch of customers. I mean, that could be part of it. But the pitch is, let me help you nurture and educate your existing customers. Because again, remember, brands have different budgets for all of these different things. So they oftentimes will have a totally separate budget. And frankly, they may even have they may have never thought that like, wow, partnering with a creator or partnering with someone is a way for us to actually allocate our retention budget. Because a lot of times the retention budget from a marketing standpoint is, diverted to something like ad retargeting, right? So ad retargeting is like, okay, someone has like, we want to, they're an existing customers. And so we have that list uploaded into Facebook or whatever. And there's like some customer education series or whatever that we're doing that we want to invite people. So they'll actually run ads to like encourage people to join those types of things, right? And so, or there's like retargeting campaigns that people will do organically via email, right? And so what if this is one of those exercises that they are one of those initiatives, and a partnership with you all of a sudden makes sense. Oh, okay. Yeah. We've got 50K, 100K in our retention budget this quarter or whatever. Now I guess, yeah, it would make sense to pay Justin 20K of that or 5K of that or whatever type of creator you are. Because it'll help us achieve our retention objectives, right? And it's very clear, like that case that they can go then to their manager or to their client if it's an agency and make that case internally. Am I making sense here? Can you let me know in the chat? Disney Mom Life, Nick Torrey, Nino 6749, Miss Joe B, Adriana from Texas DIY Mama. Good to see you here. Jim Hookie says, I just got the book in the mail. Let's go. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy it. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. Yeah, let me know. Let me know if this is making sense. We got John Willis tuning in the chat. Let's see here. Let's see. We've got Parker's on the go. I read it and I listened to it. Appreciate it, man. Anthony says, how do I get one? Well, so the best way to get one is to just pick it up off my website. That usually is my preferred method because then I have your email and I could directly converse with you. You can pick it up on Amazon and some other platforms too. But yeah, my website's the best place. All right. Living with Parkinson says, Justin, I really appreciate all the inspiration you have given me to start my journey here on YouTube. Super, super appreciate that. It's great seeing you every week. Tune in and putting in the work. So Laura in the chat said, this is just what I need to learn. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, Laura. And also, if y'all have creative projects or, things that you would love, for a brand to email their entire customer base about it, drop it in the chat and we can do kind of like a real-time, case study. We can talk through it, how we would actually make this happen. John says, is Justin an NY Times bestseller yet? No. You have to like sell a lot of books in the first week of launch to be able to get on the New York Times list, or not just launch, like it could theoretically like sell a lot of copies like even much later into its life if it goes viral or something. But no, I'm not I'm not a New York Times bestseller. I'm not sure I ever will be, probably because my topic is so niche, but that's okay. I really don't mind, because I get DMs, random DMs all the time. Let me read to you a DM I just got literally like 20 minutes ago. I posted this on Twitter. I'm not making this up. I never make stuff up, but, So I got a DM from a creator who said, Justin, I bought your book on Amazon and I read it all in one sitting. Fantastic writing style. I love the stories and the brevity. My biggest takeaway was that I must offer packages that are not quantity related. It actually moved the needle for me with newsletter sponsorships. I started making up weird benefits and I sold 3 new sponsorships in the past week thanks to this tactic. I get DMs like this on the daily where people are saying like, just this one little kernel or this one nugget helped me make, thousands more dollars on these sponsorships. So this is like, I don't know, I'm pretty biased, but like, I think the ROI on reading this book is pretty dang good. So yeah, I mean, I think that, the other, takeaway that I got from this, two takeaways actually. One, which is newsletter sponsorships, right? I think a lot of people think that my methodologies apply only to social media creators or YouTubers or whatever. But no, I actually have a lot of newsletter operators and a lot of newsletter creators who have used these tactics as well very successfully. And then the comment about offering weird things as, a reason to like upsell. One thing that I think you should never be limited by, if you feel like an idea is too weird. Like one thing that one of our clients have done, I'll anonymize this, but one thing that one of our clients has done was they were planning on going to an in-person trade show with a brand, and it was like kind of like a regional trade show, like a smaller one, not like super. I mean, maybe there was like several hundred attendees or something like that. And it was clear there really wasn't going to be much of a media presence, or they didn't really have like photographers or videographers or something like that. And so what this creator did is they upsold the brand by saying, hey, I'm actually going to bring my own videographer. They hadn't like locked that in yet, but they said, hey, I can actually, as part of this partnership, I'm going to come to your booth. I'm going to be there and talk with your customers and all that. Wouldn't it be awesome if we had like a videographer there or a photographer there, getting a bunch of photo and video assets? Then I'll deliver, 2-3 long form videos, 20 shorts that you guys can repurpose on your social media. And it's going to be an additional, whatever it was, $12,000, or I made that number up, but like 12 grand or something like that. And the brand says, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yeah, because we don't have any assets. We don't have anyone coming or whatever. And so all of a sudden, when they sign that deal, they say, okay, boom, let me go out there and find a local videographer or photographer that can come and attend for a couple grand or whatever. And you pocket the difference, right? And you get those assets over to them. So there's all these creative ways that you can make more money on these types of partnerships when you think, what is the brand actually trying to get out of this? It's not just aligning themselves with you. Oftentimes, there's all these other priorities that they have that if you could serve as like a one-stop shop to them, it might be very clear why they should pay you a higher amount, right? So let me know if that makes sense. We've got Listed Fit tuning in on IG. We've got Gary Cox. We've got Nom Nom Sion. We've got It's Chef Noya. We've got Kele Chi Monday. We've got Divya Agarwal. Good to see you here, Divya. We've got Disney Mom Life says, how do we sign up for your email list? Disney Mom Life, it is creatorwizard.com/join. And for those of you who are not on my email list, what are you even doing? I send out paid sponsorship opportunities every single week for free on a silver platter. Like here's brands that are actively trying to find creators to collaborate with. Yeah, go to creatorwizard.com/join. So let me know if this is making sense. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. So Laura says, interview speak, what your interviewer really wants to know. Okay. So it's your book project. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, let's talk about this. So, what types of brands and companies could Laura reach out to and propose this idea? How can we reverse engineer a brand or a company, who would really want to educate their customers about why speaking clearly is a good thing? Let's all do this collectively. Drop it in the chat if you have ideas for Laura. What types of brands? Laura, do you have some ideas of brands that you would love to collaborate with for this type of initiative? Let's get into the psychographic of your reader. Actually, do you have this work done? Like, what is your reader persona? What is your reader psychographic of like, who is the perfect candidate to get your book? Is it the college graduate who's trying to land their first job? Is it the person who's trying to up-level their career and go from a manager to a director, or someone who's trying to change careers? Is this related to, by the way, I don't know if this is related to job interviews. Maybe it's related to podcast interviewing or something like that. I'm assuming, but yeah, maybe you can share. Okay, so Laura says Indeed is a great fit. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I was not planning on doing this, but like this is fun, right? I feel like this is useful for everyone. So let me share my screen here. Okay. Okay. Let me share my screen. Boom. 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 All right, y'all. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am pulling up Indeed's Instagram, okay? Because I want to know just like a quick pulse check on like what does it seem like Indeed cares about right now? So the very first thing that I see is they have a pin post where they are sponsoring. Indeed presents Rising Voices, which is streaming on Hulu. So when did this happen? So this was May 29th. So excited to share that seasons 1 through 4 of Indeed's Rising Voices are now available on Hulu and Canopy. So hailed as the gold standard of branded content. It's in collaboration with all these people, selecting 10 emerging filmmakers each year to make short films about the future of work. So the future of work seems like a really important theme for them right now, right? And so what would it look like, Laura? What would a Indeed edition of your book look like? What would that look like? Interview Speak. If it was Interview Speak Indeed edition, do you think that would be something that would like get exciting to them? So what you could do, here's what I would do, is I would go onto Hulu and I would watch several of these episodes, several of these things, and get the theme of like, what are they trying to get across about the future of work? And then when you reach out in your pitch to them, you create a mock-up, you take the cover of your book, the cover design of your book, you drag it into ChatGPT, okay? And you upload the Indeed logo and you say, make an Indeed edition of my book cover. That's what I did when I was pitching some of these brands. So you create the mock-up of the cover. Then you say to them, I would love to write, either you can write the foreword or someone on their team can write the foreword. And it's about the future of work and what that means and how Indeed is supporting that. And then that is a limited edition book that they can send out to, I don't know, new employers who are signing up for, job listings on Indeed, or, it's a giveaway that they run as a promotion on Instagram. They collab with you on Instagram using the collab feature or something like that. That's like a very interesting idea. Especially given that they just did this collaboration. They probably invested a lot of money in this. They have 4 seasons of this. So they clearly think that this Rising Voices thing is an important thing to them. What do we think about this? Drop it in the chat. Laura says, I love it. I love it. Well, there we go. Is this unlocking anything for anyone else? Is this unlocking anything? Right? Disney Mom Left says, signed up for the email list. So excited. Yes. Love to see it. Love to hear that you're on the email list now. Let's go. Yeah, let's see here. So listed fit, Kezia Peralt, Sachin Kumar Verma. Let me know. How are we feeling here? Gary Cox. Is this unlocking anything? Laura says, thank you for this. You're welcome. And by the way, Laura, you can run this playbook with any brand that you think of, right? And of course, we're going to help you inside Wizards Guild in our coaching program. But like, this is the same type of like mindset that you can bring to about potentially reaching out to other brands, which is like, what would it take for them to get excited about my thing? Because again, Laura, here's the cold truth of it. And I'm not trying to be callous. I'm not trying to be rude. The cold truth of it is they don't care about your book. You care about your book. They don't care about your book. So how can you get them to care about your book? Oh, an Indeed edition of your book. Oh yeah, I care. They care about that. That's what they care about. Okay, so you got to take your ego out of this thing. And this was like probably the coldest truth that we had to learn, over the years doing collaborations with brands, is just at the end of the day, they don't care about you. They care about themselves. They care about their own initiatives. They care about, what's going to help them move the needle on this Q3 marketing objective, because their boss is breathing down their neck and they have to hit this certain number of sales goals or this certain number of leads or whatever. Right. So another LinkedIn user said, yes, this is so helpful for writers and creators. Yes, I'm so glad to hear that. LinkedIn user, I can't see your username, so maybe you can, or your name, so maybe you can tell me. Laura says, yay, I love Wizards Guild. I'm so happy to hear that, Laura. I think that there's a little bit of shade happening in the chat from John and a few others. John says, the amount of tabs you have open gives me anxiety. Well, you know what, John? I know, me too. I have to, it's actually very bad. I have to periodically close down my entire browser because it just gets so slow. But I have a bad habit of just like not closing the tab because I think I'm going to want to go back and access that tab. And so, yeah, it's not okay. Yeah, I admit it's not a good idea. And apparently Bianca says she was trying to like intervene. But yeah, it's not, it doesn't really work. Let's see here. Tamara Walker says, that's great for Laura. Justin, I need help. I'm building a legal tech platform that helps families resolve heirs' property issues and turn land into generational wealth. My anxiety has me everywhere regarding where to start. So this is a really interesting one. So Tamara, she's building a legal tech platform that helps families resolve heirs' property issues and turn land into generational wealth. So I can speak from personal experience that not me or my direct family, but like extended relatives that, when someone in the family passes away and there's like land involved or whatever, I don't know why it is, but it gets super contentious, right? Some people want to keep the property or keep the land in the family because it's like a legacy and heritage and all that. And some people don't want to have anything to do with that. And so they want to sell it and, get the money that comes from the sale. And then it creates all this animosity between family members and leading to like sometimes rifts in the family where there were no rifts present previously. So yeah, I mean, this is like a real thing. I think it's a huge pain point. So it sounds like your platform is badly needed. So to me, wow. I mean, immediately where my mind goes, and this isn't necessarily like a sponsorship thing, but like there's so much power for story, so much possibility for storytelling for your platform. I think the playbook that I would probably run if I were you tomorrow is I would try to seek out people who have stories of how this has happened in their family and it's created these giant rifts. You could start with people who have publicly told these stories, whether it was on TikTok or you could search on X, or people have written blog posts or made YouTube videos about it, and reach out to them under basically offering to share their story and shine a light on them. To me, that would be really powerful. And I think those types of stories would really resonate with people because I feel like everyone kind of has or kind of knows someone who has gone through something like this. And so if you could solve that, or if you could help with that, that would be my organic content strategy, possibly. The other thing that might be interesting would be, I wonder if this would be considered competitive, but like Trust and Will, for example, is like a large company that I know advertises a lot, and they've even sponsored my newsletter before. Where they're helping people with trusts and wills. I don't know if that is like a lot of crossover between what you're planning on doing, but like some sort of collaboration with them might be potentially interesting, I think. I'm gonna have to think about that one a little bit more. I love the premise behind it. There's definitely something there. Tamara says, yes, I reached out to EV brands to help with storytelling. Interesting. EV meaning like electric vehicle? Sorry, EV. Am I not? Is there another abbreviation for that? Anyways, maybe you can give me a bit more context. But yeah, I'll have to have a think about that one. Tamara says, oh, you should see my copy of the Sponsor Magnet book. I'll send you a photo with all the markings. Would you please actually send me a photo? I love those photos. If you DM me on Instagram or email me or something, I would love to see that photo. It just touches my heart that, like, frankly, that the book has turned into the reference manual or the reference guide that I was always hoping it would be. Like I had this like visualization that like people would have it on their desk and have a bunch of sticky notes in it. And then when like a email from a sponsor came in, or where they're like drafting an email to a brand, they just like thumb to that page where they had like a, you know, like a sticky note on it or something. And so that just, that really, really touches my heart. So I appreciate that so much. So yeah, great one. So yeah, if you're just tuning in here, what we're talking about today is sponsorships as distribution, meaning, like, how can you get a brand to email their entire customer base about your thing? And it all starts with what is important to them. Like, what does the brand care about? How can you convince them that sponsoring you or talking about your thing is a worthwhile thing to help them either retain customers or acquire new customers, or just spread general awareness about their advocacy within your industry? Let's see here. We've got Abdullah's Tech Vault saying, I need sponsorships. I hear you, man. We all do. I need help. Well, you're in the right place. That's what we're talking about today. Armand says, can you coach me? I run an influencer marketing agency. So appreciate you asking. I ran an influencer agency for about 7 years, and I learned an absolutely massive amount. But what probably the thing I learned the most was that, wow, it's hard. Running an agency is so hard. And so I super appreciate the question, but I'm not, I find so much more joy in educating creators and helping them along their journey versus helping either agency owners or businesses. So there's a lot of good resources out there on the internet that'll help you navigate that. But yeah, apologies, I'm not an agency coach. That's not really my shtick. So let me know in the chat, whether it's on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, what questions do you have? Are there ongoing negotiations that you need support with? We've got yours truly, Lily, tuning in. We've got Kamunto Bear. Good to see you here. We've got Gabby. We've got Yummy with Amy. Good to see you here. Let's see here. We've got a question here from John in the chat. What's going on, John? John, by the way, participated in our 10K brand deal challenge last week. And it was so awesome to have him in there. And his question was, how do you move from 1K or 2K pound deals to 5 to 10K pound deals? How do you make that jump and get the brand to see the value and jump to pay you? This is a great question, John. And you know, the way I always think about how do I help the brand see the value in paying, you know, me 5X, let's say, what they're used to paying other creators, is I always try to get into their head about like, okay, well, they have 3 people. If I'm on a phone call, right? Let's say I'm on a phone call with 3 of their marketing staff. And let's say on average, those 3 marketing people are earning $100,000 a year from their salary. So that's $300,000 a year that they're paying, right? Give or take here. And so let's just say it's on the order of $25,000 a month that they are paying in payroll and salary to these 3 people who work at this company to help them with their marketing initiatives. So right now, currently in this situation on this call, I know I'm making up numbers, right? But like, I know that they are like paying people to like help them with their marketing initiatives, right? And so I try to start kind of pulling that thread and reverse engineering that. Okay, if I were somehow able to convince this brand, right? So they're paying 25 grand a month to these 3 people, right? To collectively. And what would it take for me to convince this brand to pay me $8,000 a month? So another, let's just say another $8,000 stacked onto that, as if I was one of their employees. What would it take for me to actually convince a brand to do that? And so this is a very useful framing to actually have this conversation, I think, John, because the same attributes or the same value that brands assign to an internal employee could absolutely be assigned to an external employee if you make it clear that, like, hey, you don't have to go out there and hire this fourth person to do this thing that you think you might need help with. I can actually do that for you on a freelance basis. And so it may not be more videos on your YouTube channel. It may just be, hey, let me provide some social strategy consulting for you on a monthly basis, or let me create some content for your platforms that you can do. Hey, maybe we can do a webinar that is, a partnership thing, and you email all your customers about this webinar that I'm doing for you. Maybe, hey, I noticed that you don't have a private community of all your most engaged customers. Is there a reason that you don't have a private community? I'm like an Uber fan. How about I create the community for you? I'll use Circle, which is a platform. They're a sponsor of mine. But I'll use Circle to create this community for you. We'll invite all your customers into it. I'll be your community manager. All these YouTube videos that I'm creating for you, integrations, I'll post it in there as like education for customers. And wow, okay, now I see why I have to pay John $8,000 a month to make the content, to be the community manager, to help out with that, to help us out with strategy and consulting and things like that. So you see where I'm going here in terms of just going down. And again, it doesn't have to be all these things. I'm just saying, like, this is the mindset that you have to have of why a brand will start to pay someone $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month, because you're doing and offering very different things than anyone else that they're working with. So John, let me know in the chat if that's helpful, because that's how I usually approach these types of things. Okay. All right. Let's see here. A few more comments came in. Let's see here. So Abdullah's Tech Vault says, I have a tech channel and I'm lost of where to find sponsorships. I tried emailing some and no response from them. So would definitely need to see what those pitches look like. So, if you have not read my book Sponsor Magnet yet, I would really encourage you to do that, because I literally lay out the 4-part, formula basically of like what needs to be in a successful pitch. Your pitch has to be relevant to a campaign the brand is either currently running or has run in the past. O stands for organic, meaning that you can tie your work back to organic content that you've already published that illustrates that your audience has an affinity for their brand. P stands for proof, so you can illustrate how you've helped others achieve results. And E stands for easy to execute, when the brand says, hey, we might be kind of interested in this. What did you have in mind? And so I'd really encourage you to read chapter 1 of my book is all about this. And so the fact that you're not getting responses or that you're getting ghosted is most likely a result of either not saying the right things, it's too focused on you and not them, or you're not sending it to the right person. So I'd really encourage you to pick up the book, sponsormagnet.com. Let's see here. John, a follow-up here. John says, so you offer to make content for them and consult on content strategy on a regular basis and have a conversation about what that's worth and what it would save them overall. That's genius. That's exactly right, man. I mean, look, dude, I'm running a business. I'm constantly thinking about, should I hire someone full-time for this? Should I hire a contractor for this? Should I do this or should I do this? It's always this like balancing act, right? Because there's all these other things that come with adding headcount to a company, right? Especially if, you have a bunch of full-time employees and you're offering all sorts of benefits and all that, right? It's like, there's a lot of like headache associated with all these other ancillary things that come with having full-time employees. And so if you can convince them that you can do this for them on a freelance basis, and it eliminates a lot of the headache or red tape that is required to onboard someone full-time, they might jump at that opportunity. And again, a lot of the brands they're not sitting here being like, I wonder if we could reach out to this creator that we sponsored and see if he'd be interested in this like thing that we need help with. They're not thinking that. They're thinking, oh, there's no way that John would ever be interested in this, right? Because like, that's just not where they go to first. Their first go-to idea is like, let's go make a job post on our job board, right? That's where they go to first. And so oftentimes it might be you reaching out to them and proposing this idea for them to be like, wow, I didn't even know that you would be interested in something like that. Right? Is this making sense? All right. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Laura is saying it's all about the value they believe you will bring them. That's exactly right. Laura, it's all about the value that they believe that you will bring them, which is exactly why, wow, what a great segue, Laura, which is exactly why you should not have a media kit with your pricing listed on there, which is why you should not have an area on your website where it lists the prices of like, oh yeah, pick package 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, you just do a integration on my podcast or an integration on my newsletter. I don't even have to talk to you. You could just click here and book it. Check out on Stripe. You don't have to enter your credit card details. You don't even have to talk to me, right? You are pricing yourself in a vacuum. You are predetermining your value to the brand. How do you know whether they wouldn't have been willing to pay you 10 times the amount because of these other creative ideas that you propose to them? Right? And so this is a very, very, very important insight, which is you cannot price yourself in a vacuum. You have to have an initial conversation with the brand, understand what's important to them, right? And ensure that you create a bespoke proposal, a custom proposal that outlines those pain points. And so the pitches that you're drafting are a way to get your foot in the door. It's not the end all be all. The pitches are a way for you to pique their interest, to get a wedge, get on that initial phone call or get their initial interest level over email and ask them deeper questions about what they're trying to accomplish. Then you say, okay, great. Now that I know that's what you care about, I actually would propose something slightly different than what I proposed initially. Okay? All right. John says, man, definitely, man, you are the GOAT. Remind me to buy you a beer when I make my first 6 figures. Oh, I'm going to take you up on that, bro. I'm going to take you up on that. And hopefully, maybe you're going to make a trip across the pond to come to Sponsor Games 2026. What do we think? Would love to see you there, man. It's going to be great. We're just about to announce the dates for Sponsor Games 2026 in San Antonio in March. So I'm very excited for that. Just real quick, a little behind the scenes. So I think I told y'all that I'm just about to launch our new podcast, or relaunch my podcast, and it's called Sponsor Magnet. And I have 2 episodes planned where I have convinced 2 of our sponsors from last year for Sponsor Games to let me pitch them live on a podcast episode. So I literally said to you, like, hey, I want to pitch you on like sponsoring the event again. I said it like in better terms. And they've said yes. So I'm going to record 2 separate episodes and let y'all be a fly on the wall to kind of see how I have these conversations with actual sponsors for my event. So I don't know how this is going to go. But frankly, like I'll just be totally real with y'all right now. Like getting sponsors to agree to sponsor my event was hard to say the least last year. I think part of it was because like this event has never existed before. We really didn't know how many people were going to show up. And it was this thing we were creating from nothing. I was like, we were kind of willing it into existence. Right. And it turned out absolutely amazing. But like for a while there, I thought I was going to lose a bunch of money because I just didn't think we were going to have enough people buying tickets and enough sponsors and all that. We ended up about breaking even, which was amazing. But it was just really hard to convince sponsors to like, support the event, frankly. And so when I was faced with, we're planning next year's event already. And when I was faced with the prospect or this idea of like, okay, I got to go pitch sponsors again for next year, I found myself feeling resistive a bit because it was just so hard the first time around, frankly. And so I thought to myself, like, how could I make this more fun for myself? And also kind of scratch a creative itch. And I thought to myself, what if I just like asked if I could pitch them live, like on the podcast? And I basically told them, I said, like, here's the ground rules. You're allowed to say no. I'm very low ego about this. And I said, I will not edit that. If you said, no, or you need more time, or it's not going to be a good fit this year, or other priorities are changing or whatever, like, I don't care. Like, I'm totally fine with you saying those things. And I said, you can also say yes, which would be cool. But I don't know. I just thought it would be valuable for y'all to be able to see this in real time, to see how I kind of actually have these conversations and really probe these brands to try to understand what they care about and align whatever we propose to them to that. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. What do y'all think? Yeah, let's see. Let's see here. Jason in the chat says, "Hey Justin, sorry I've missed so much lately, but I just landed a $20,000 sponsorship for a convention. Thank you, guys." Okay, let's give it up in the chat for Jason. Jason is an OG viewer. He's an OG viewer, and you know what? We absolutely need to like give it up for Jason. You know what I do. You know what I do when we get these amazing testimonials here in the chat is I have to pull this up on the screen. It has to be done. All right, guys, here we go. Here we go. You know, I'm going to freeze frame it. Here we go. I don't know why I always have to make that face, but dude, Jason, I'm so stoked for you, dude. That is absolutely enormous, and we got to give it up. We got to give it up for Jason in the chat. That is absolutely crazy. So proud of you, dude. Laura says, "Oh, that sounds like fun. I can't wait to hear the podcast." Yes. Parker's on the go says, "Oh, that's going to be good. I need to hear your work live and in action." Yes, I'm stoked for it. Yes, everyone's giving it up for Jason in the chat. Let's go. All right, let's see here. Okay, we got a question here from Blue Dragon. Hey, Justin, I have a question. I am negotiating between a creator pushing for a higher rate and a brand pushing for lower. How can I secure my margin in the middle? So I am assuming that you're an agent or a manager. I'm not sure I'm the best person to ask about this because I think I've been pretty vocal about my opinions on managers and agents and stuff like that. So I have no hate or anything. But that's a tough situation as you've found. It's like, you know, you've got creator wants to be paid more, brand wants to be pushed lower, and like you're trying to fight for your middle ground here. And look, I get it. I understand you're trying to run a business and you're trying to run point on all this. What's my advice here? Well, there would be quite a few things I would need to know. Like, are you representing this creator exclusively, or is it a non-exclusive thing? Are there other creators as part of this deal, or is it just this one person? What is the brand trying to accomplish as part of this campaign? You know, is this a one-off engagement or is it a long-term thing? All of that context would like color my answer. Because, for example, if this was like one pulse of a longer term engagement, then maybe it makes sense to like, you know, accept a smaller amount, but it's going to be over a longer time span. But if it's a one-off engagement, maybe that's not relevant. So again, like I think there's a lot of context I would need to know about the situation to give actually good advice. Let's see here. Yeah, look at all the love. Look at all the love that we got in the chat for Jason. I love to see it here. We've got the Scenic Way tuning in on Instagram. We've got Bethany. We've got Girly Pink 18, Harrow Style, Joshua Cartmel, Rhea Pivo. We've got Your Video Editor. Good to see you all here on Instagram. Hey, Bianca, side note, I think you're here, Bianca from my team. Bianca, can we, I need to send a message to Restream. Restream is the tool that I use to like do the live streams. On Instagram, it used to be where I could go live in landscape on YouTube and LinkedIn and stuff, but then it would just crop the video for Instagram. But it doesn't do that anymore. And it's very frustrating because it like shows up as landscape on IG and I don't know why. So I want to just make a note to reach back out to Restream to figure out why that is. Let's see here. Let's see. So Blue Dragon has a bit more context here. It is just this one creator, one-time collab for a full dedicated video. Got it. Man, I mean, my perspective is always like, do I think that this could turn into a long-term fruitful relationship with this creator and this brand? And a big part of that is managing expectations for your client, which is the creator. You go to them and you say, look, I understand that you want to make this amount and you may have gotten that amount from these other brands over here. But if you see a possibility of a long-term relationship with this brand, what if we could then go back to them and propose something longer term, even though they're asking for one dedicated video? Could you paint for me a quarterly strategy over the next 12 months where you make 4 videos for them and you talk about what the pulses are and what you talk about in each video? And let's go back to that brand and propose why it makes way more sense to do a longer term engagement. Maybe it's less per video, but it's over 4 videos. And this is why that makes sense. Even though the brand came inbound asking for just a dedicated video, it's your job as the manager, in my view, as the agent or whatever, to try to talk some sense, so to speak, into your creator client and encourage them to come back to the brand with a more comprehensive proposal. That's how I would approach it probably, right? So it's less about figuring out how I can squeeze more margin out of this and more about like, how can I increase the LTV of the relationship with the sponsor or the lifetime value, right? It's not just about this one deal. Y'all, we have podcasting royalty in the Instagram chat. We've got Seth Silvers. Let's give it up for Seth in the chat, y'all. I met Seth at VidCon, actually not that long ago, a couple months ago. And since that time, he has been such an incredible advocate for me. He's recommended so many people to buy my book. He's like sending me screenshots all the time. In fact, he just bought 10 more of my books. I saw it come through the other day. And Seth runs a very successful podcast agency. He's behind a ton of some of the most successful podcasts that you know of. His team runs those, so just super appreciative for your advocacy. And look at this, we got Treadfast Media joining. Treadfast Media are the folks who filmed our sponsor games event last year. So it's good to see y'all here in the chat as well. All right, we got a question here from the Scenic Way. I had my first sponsor offer me an opportunity to showcase and speak about a beer. They only want to provide the product, but I want money. How should I go about this? If the collab wants to provide me the product but no payment, is it worth taking the opportunity? So, man, I hear you. I mean, in fact, I created a whole training module about this whole situation called Gifted to Paid, because I think a lot of creators get excited about this idea in the beginning, right? Oh, brands offering to, give me free stuff. Awesome. Especially, it feels like kind of like validation. It kind of feels like a flex. Like you've been creating this content on the internet and finally you're starting to get noticed by these brands, right? But what I often like to do is paint a broader picture of like what it is you're actually bringing to the table when you are collaborating with these brands. So if it's this beer company right now, pretty much any consumer brand, and a beer company is a consumer brand, pretty much any consumer brand is probably running ads on the internet, right? And guess what? Guess what's required when you run ads? You have to hire a production company or hire an agency to create content for you if you don't have someone in-house on your team. Right? That requires money, right? Then when the content is, and then they have to hire actors and actresses to star in the content. They have to pay someone to edit the content. And then when they're done with this content that they want to run as an ad, they have to pay Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to run the ad. Think about how much money they just spent to create this ad and to get it in front of consumers. And so if you looked at yourself as what I call a production company in a box, it starts making a lot more sense. And if you can articulate that to them, that like, hey, I actually can probably create more content for you that will get you a more efficient ad spend. Wow, now they're starting to pay attention. So maybe what you do is you go and you do a little bit of research. You figure out all the ads that they're running. You scrape it all. You drop it into ChatGPT and you say, tell me the top 5 things this brand cares about right now and what they're running ads for. And then you come back to them and you say, hey, I would love to make you some more compelling ads. And here's 10 videos that I'm going to deliver to you. I'm going to make different hooks. I'm going to have different call to actions. You can throw those all in the Meta or TikTok or YouTube black box, the ad manager, see which ones performs best. I'll give you the rights to those assets for 6 months. It's going to be $7,500. Wow, that's compelling. Now they start to understand why they have to pay you for that, because you're going to help them get a more efficient ad spend. It's not just about organically talking about them on your platform. And look, of course, like I talk a lot about how you got to be nimble and you propose all these different things. And like, you can try all this. And then at the end of the day, the brand still be like, nah, No, it's okay. Free stuff or nothing, right? And like those brands are myopic. That sucks. Those brands are, frustrating to deal with. I will be the first one to admit that. And so I'm not oblivious to the fact that not every brand is going to be willing to entertain these types of creative scenarios. In fact, maybe the majority are not going to be willing to entertain it. But all it takes is 1, 2, 3 brands to start successfully closing, to give you that enthusiasm and that motivation and that belief, that conviction in yourself that, hey, this actually might work. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do this not just for this brand, but for this other brand over here, right? And it doesn't take that many for the dominoes to start falling and for you to be able to build out these case studies of how you've helped other brands when you pitch new brands to do similar work for them. Does that make sense, Scenic Way? All right, we got a yes. Thank you with the praise hands emoji in the chat. Love to see it here. Yeah, Tamara says, no free product. Send an email with 3 packages. There we go. I almost went into Billy Madison impression, like, no. Right, I just watched Billy Madison with my kids, like, the other day. Let's see here. John said, Justin, if you need a videographer or a photographer for Sponsor Games 2026, I would love to help you out. Wow. What an offer there, man. I super appreciate that. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, dude. We're still trying to figure out all the logistics, of that, of like what we're going to do for we're actually frankly trying to be a bit more ambitious with our videography, strategy, this year. 'Cause if you were like following it when we did it, there was no, we had a videographer there, we had a photographer there, but there was no digital ticket. There was no live streaming. There was no way that people who weren't there could experience Sponsor Games. And so we've been trying to think carefully about, is there a way in which we could curate a virtual experience of the event, that would be valuable to people? And so we haven't figured it out yet, because I don't know. I think that there's something really special about the in-person experience of being there. And we're actually planning some pretty cool new things that we're going to be doing this year, and integrating our sponsors a lot more deeply and ensuring that there's just a lot of FaceTime between our attendees and the sponsors who are there. So yeah, but I appreciate you offering that, man. And definitely we'll keep that in mind. Nikki Saunders, y'all. We got Nikki Saunders tuning in on YouTube. Nikki, y'all, if you are not following Nikki, and I don't even know, you've been living under a rock. I don't even know what you're doing. Nikki is like one of my go-to experts for social strategy, for content strategy. She has been in the game for a super long time. Especially, she talks a lot about like AI, automation, how you can improve your workflows as a creator. You absolutely have to be following Nikki on YouTube, on Instagram. Like absolutely not even a question. So Nikki, I appreciate you gracing us with your presence here in the live stream today. Good to see you here. John says, Justin's tips are making me run out of notebook paper and ink. I appreciate that, dude. And John says, oh yeah, there is a way to do it. And I can absolutely help you with that if you wanted to do it. Alternatively, I can be there to film it and take photos if needed. Very, very, I super appreciate that offer, man. And, yeah, that's, yeah, we could talk. I appreciate you offering that, man. Bianca, let's make a note to follow up with John about some of his ideas. It might be worthwhile having a conversation, as we're trying to figure all this stuff out. Yeah, y'all, gotta mention something. So first of all, like those of you who are just tuning in right now, appreciate, honestly, like every person who shows up to these live streams every week. This is like, y'all are like family to me, because you, I don't know. I feel like y'all are my ride or die kind of, and I always get to share my kind of, life updates and what's going on with the business and the behind the scenes stuff with the book. And like, I don't know, it just really means a lot to me that I see so many of you here, the same people every time. It just really, really means a lot to me. And Nikki says, when is the next in-person I need to be there, Nikki? It is mid-March 2026. We're just about to announce the dates, but I can send them to you. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely dope. We're so excited. Okay. I'm just gonna say the dates. Don't quote me on. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say the dates. I shouldn't do it. We have signed a preliminary letter of intent with the venue, but we have not like signed the contract yet. So I'm not gonna say the dates. I think Bianca and Sarah on my team would kill me if I said that. So it's mid-March. Just put it that way. Just put mid-March. Block that off on your calendar, and would love to see you there, Nikki. It would be amazing. Let's see. Nikki says, "Side note: the book is gold." Y'all, Nikki, thank you so much. That seriously means a lot to me. And Jason says, Nikki is my go-to for staying up to dates on AI. There we go. See, I wasn't lying. It's not just me. Let's see here. Stephanie from LinkedIn, how do I get involved in your community? I want to land some sponsorships. Yo, Stephanie, you are in the right place. I've got zillions of resources for you. But if you want, I got two real quickly, rapid fire ones. Get the book, sponsormagnet.com. This is like the quickest way that you can get up to date. It's also available as an audiobook on Audible. You can pick it up. So you can binge the book on Audible very quickly, like on 2x speed. Or we've got a coaching program, Wizards Guild. We will literally be there in your corner, and it's fee only. We don't take a cut of your deals, and we will help you with your pitching, your pricing, your package strategy, your negotiations. If you get into challenging situations with brands, and we're on call for you basically to help you with those deals. And again, we don't take a cut. And so it's a new model. We're not managers, we're not agents. We're just here to support you. So wizardsguild.com. if you want help with that. So Stephanie, appreciate you pinging, and I'll make sure to follow up with you. I'm going to take a screenshot and follow up with you. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I did want to mention that I am not going to be here next week for the live stream. I have some family obligations. It's just a bit tricky with the summer and the kids' schedules and camp and like all sorts of crazy stuff. So no live stream next week, but I'll be back at it for the following week, and appreciate each and every one of you. See you all on the flip side.